This is JY, this time with a disturbing Dwarf Fortress video. This video is rated M for mature for horrific and graphic depictions of violence that you can see on the screen right now. This was my first playthrough of Dwarf Fortress, and it ended up in carnage and bloodshed, unfortunately. I was deeply disturbed by the events that transpired. We'll just take a quick look at all the gore here. We got severed head, a mutilated corpse. This was my bookkeeper's head. Then he became elected mayor after the previous mayor was killed, but then he died pretty much immediately afterwards. So a bunch of blood and gore over here. Down 1Z level, we have like a river of blood over here. Just a ton of blood everywhere. River of blood, and another corpse. Yeah, so really graphic. What happened was a fucking were-coyote, and man, those things suck. And in my first playthrough, I didn't know how to deal with it, and I wasn't able to contain the infection in time, and it just all snowballed to hell from there. Unfortunately, like, the old combat logs and announcements don't get saved, but with the Lazy Noob pack, they actually have a gamelog.txt, so I can go over some of the colorful highlights from the beginning. So we'll start with my farmer Kib. He got possessed a while ago and tried to create a great work. Unfortunately, it required some cloth, some silk cloth, and I did not have any available. You have to shear it from an animal, I guess, and you can only shear it from 3 animals. And I did have a baby alpaca, but I couldn't shear it, so I couldn't get the cloth he needed. And then, so he went insane. This doesn't actually have anything directly to do with the downfall of the fortress, but it comes into play later. So, anyways, after a couple months, he's wandering around outside my fortress and dies of starvation and dehydration. Cool. Okay, fast forward a little bit. Kib was married to a ranger named Irish, and she gives birth to his baby boy a few months later, and it's really sad. But I guess that's one of the cool emergent parts of this game, or sort of tragic storylines like that. But everything was going okay in my fortress. Like, it was my first playthrough, but I'd read a bunch of guides, and I'd been doing okay. But then all of a sudden, everything goes to crap once a were-coyote attacks my fortress. I'm trying to find the log entry for this. Trying to find the log entry for the original. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so some random were-coyote comes and visits my place, and so one of my hunters was having a drink when he got attacked by the were-coyote, and I mean, the coyote's basically mangling my hunter. Just biting him everywhere. And then he tears my hunter's tendon, crippling and maiming him. But luckily, my hunter gets a critical hit headshot and kills the were-coyote. And I thought, okay, cool, everything's good. And then I kind of forgot about my injured hunter. Until fast forward, about 1 month later, there's a full moon, and then he turns into a were-coyote as well. And unfortunately, like, I didn't know that if you look at the combat logs, if it shows that bites have gone into the skin, then they're infected. I didn't know this, otherwise I might have been able to take some precautions. Since he was maimed, I could have just walled him in. But it was kind of too late at this point, and so now he kind of goes onto a rampage. Kills and wounds a bunch of people. Okay, tearing open somebody's head. Just really graphic, rated M for mature. Alright, so there were two dwarfs that got infected before my infected beast hunter died, and one was a miner and the other was a broker, and these caused me endless amount of pain and consternation. Alright, so they eventually killed the werewolf, but I knew these two were infected, and the first thing I had tried to do was over here. These are some walls. So my miner was crippled here, or he was injured here, and then I tried to wall him in, but unfortunately the dwarf building the wall walled himself in with the werewolf, and and this dwarf had previously crafted an artifact, and I didn't have the heart to just leave him in there, so I told him to tear down the wall and then hopefully try to rebuild it again. But then I forgot, and then the infected miner recovered and then went back into the fortress, and it was too late at that point. I had a second chance down in the dining areas. His bedroom is like, I think it's right here or something. Yeah, so this was the miner's bedroom, and at one point he was in his bedroom with his wife, and I could have just walled off this section here and then just trapped him in there forever. But I didn't have the heart to do it because that would be dooming his wife to death. Unfortunately, that was the wrong decision because I wasn't strong enough to sacrifice the wife. A lot more innocents were killed. And then there was the broker, and yeah, I was never able to figure out how to trap her or kill her. And then, so fast forward to the next full moon, and it just kind of happened right away. I was trying to make preparations to kill the two infected dwarves, but then the full moon came again really quickly. Let's see. Yep, so next full moon, the two infected dwarves transform, and it's just awful, just horrific. There's a dwarven baby being killed by the broker. You can see the baby's crying out for his mother as the were-coyotes just slamming the baby around and just destroying it, like biting into the baby's head, latching onto it, and then shaking the baby by the head with its teeth until the skull just gets crushed. I mean, completely horrific. Rated M for mature. And there's a lot more carnage. Tearing into the spine. Yeah, they basically go on a rampage. So the broker actually survives. The miner finally gets taken down after infecting a bunch of people. There's a lot of babies and children that get killed. It's very upsetting. And then the broker, has the nerve to say this is horrifying, as she's just killing everything. All right, so fast forward. After all of this, I identified who the remaining infected were. So I tried to build this atom smasher trap, which is like a raised drawbridge, and then I had a switch here which would lower the drawbridge and then smash whoever pulled the lever. But the main problem was I couldn't get the infected broker to pull it, and I was having trouble getting the other infected to come down here. I tried to create a military squad to get them to come down here and pull the lever. I also tried, disabling using a dwarf therapist all the other labors except lever pulling. But the infected kids never pulled it. The broker never pulled it. And then I did get one militia guy to come down here and pull it, but for some reason it didn't lower on him. So it was a complete failure, and the results kind of speak for themselves. Just blood and death everywhere. Got all these flashing injured dwarves, you know, in critical condition, and then a bunch of mangled, mutilated corpses down here. So losing like this was definitely not fun for me, because I didn't know how to kill the infected dwarves. Like, reading online, there's like a lot of fancy traps you can build, but since it was my first playthrough, didn't really know how to do it. The Atom Smasher sounded like the easiest trap to build, but it didn't work. So yeah, my fortress failed. I had been expecting like some kind of attack from goblins or something, and then seeing if my militia could hold on to it. That's how I was expecting the fortress to go down. But the were-coyote just single-handedly destroyed the fortress. I went from like a population of 60 dwarves or so down to 20, and a whole bunch of these are infected. Looking at the combat logs, I can just go through these and figure out how many are infected. It just seems like too much work, and I don't actually know how to kill them. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep playing through it. But yeah, that was my first playthrough. Deeply disturbing. I looked online and you can disable werebeasts, so I'll probably do that next, because that was definitely not fun for me. I'd rather, you know, get my fortress destroyed by a bunch of goblins. But yeah, that was it. It's been one of my goals to learn how to play Dwarf Fortress. I kind of procrastinated on it for 10 years because it looked really intimidating. Hopefully I'll keep sticking with it and produce more mind-blowing, disturbing videos rated M for mature. Alright, thanks for watching.